Hi guys, Tracy and Dots, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into FX's love story about JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. It's a great story, a story we're all familiar with, but they did such a good job on it and I am enjoying it very much, so I wanted to share it with you. First and foremost, I thought the casting of John Kennedy Jr. was amazing. Now, I understand that those that have met him might say otherwise. They might say that it's not even close. He was far more attractive, but let's get real. JFK Jr. was gorgeous. He was next level handsome, but his charm and charisma made him the hottest man in America. There is not a casting agent in the world that can match that. And Carolyn Bessette, well, her beauty and elegance was next level. So as casting goes, I think these two were perfect. They did a great job. There was some other casting faux pas, I think, on the series I couldn't really get past. But these two were great. And I really in love watching them both. They really got that carefree elegance and class of Carolyn Bessette. And I really think she reminded me a bit of Jackie. Just that that regal beauty. I think it was a really good match for JFK. Let's get into this because it's such a good story. I can understand how difficult it had to have been for an unknown non-celebrity to fit into the craziness of John's life, but it seemed to work. The story begins with John, Carolyn, and Lauren, Carolyn's sister, boarding John's plane on that horrific day. But that part of the story unfolds much later. It's just a foreshadowing of what's to come. First they have to meet, first they have to fall in love. So that's where we're going to start. Carolyn works at Calvin Klein. She rises quickly because of her good looks, confidence, and impeccable style. She gets the attention of Calvin himself, who takes a liking to her and brings her under his wing. John is often seen riding his bike throughout town, sometimes in a suit and sometimes without his shirts. He's a prominent fixture in New York City nightlife and the sexiest man alive. After his second bar exam failure, he comes to terms with the fact law isn't his real passion. It's politics and publishing. Annette Bening asks Carolyn her opinion on a dress Calvin had picked for her, and she recommends another option before Calvin arrives. He's a little late to the party. She gets Calvin's attention. It was for the Bugsy premiere, and Carolyn interjects her opinion, a man suit. This choice makes fashion history. Calvin is impressed. This begins her ascent into Calvin Klein's world and John's. Part of John's charm was the hours and hours of time he spent without his shirt, riding around town, and playing football in Central Park. Jackie was played by Naomi Watts. An interesting choice. A little surprised by it, but her accent was impeccable, spot on, and so were her mannerisms. So she really did her best. I would have chosen maybe Katie Holmes. I mean, they're going to put the makeup on either woman to make them look older. I I don't know. I still really enjoyed her rendition of Jackie, so we'll just leave it at that. That wasn't the one that really stood out to me as being a poor choice. The relationship between John and his mom, Jackie, is portrayed as a loving, concerned mom worried about her playboy son, one following his father's footsteps. He's a sex symbol and a man who's loved by the ladies, and she wants him to settle down, and not with a floozy Hollywood type, but someone much more classy, dignified, somebody who could keep him in check, somebody like Carolyn. Calvin and Kelly, his wife, introduced John to Carolyn Bessette, the VIP whisperer, is what Calvin called her. The way Carolyn handles John and his overtures intrigues him so much so that he sends a copious amount of red roses to her work. Carolyn notices her current fling at the club that she's attending a very exclusive party at. His name's Michael. He's a very handsome model. And she's very attracted to him, but he is not going to help her gain the status that she desires. But until she finds that one, he will do just fine. It's casual but intense, and it's going nowhere fast. John shows up at the showroom to see Carolyn. The office goes wild, and Calvin and Kelly are pleasantly surprised. Carolyn is practically stood up by John on their very first date. He was 20 minutes late. He's apologetic and realizes this is no ordinary girl. She is not going to put up with that kind of behavior. She deserves better. And this is the kind of thing that his mom wants for him. And he doesn't get it in Daryl Hannah. She just kind of lets him get away with things, and she's kind of loosey-goosey about the relationship, doesn't hold him accountable, and it's just not the right match. And enjoy it too. All right, you guys, take care. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I've got some really good recaps of documentaries dropping soon. Take care. Bye.